Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our 2014 CFL season preview for the Edmonton Eskimos. We're going to see how well the Eskimos stack up versus the rest of the field this year in the CFL. But first, let's take a look back at the draft and see how well the Eskimos drafted this past May.
Quietly, the Edmonton Eskimos put together a very solid draft with only 5 selections. They were able to come away with some guys that can make an impact very early. But the headliner of this group is Devin Bailey, the 6'5", 202-pound wide receiver from St. Francis Xavier. I saw him up close and personal last year at the East-West Bowl in London, Ontario. He did a great job all week long, beating guys one-on-one, displaying the tremendous athleticism and length that made him a top pick. I think he has a great chance to see a lot of time this year as a rookie for Edmonton. Mike Riley had a pretty productive season for the Eskimos last season, throwing for over 4,000 yards while also being the leading rusher on the team as well. Riley must cut down on the turnovers, and I'd expect that number to drop significantly in his second full season of being a starter. The biggest battle is for the number 2 job between Matt Nichols and Pat White as they vie for that opportunity. Nichols, while talented, struggles to stay healthy, and I believe Pat White actually gives them exactly what they already have in Riley, a tremendous athlete with above average accuracy. Look for him to win the number 2 job this year. The running back position in Edmonton is one that's used as a complement to Mike Riley's running. I would expect this year the staff would want Riley to run less and guys like Hugh Charles and John White to run more. Charles is one of the most versatile backs in the game. He rushed for over 600 yards and 5.4 yards a carry last season. White was able to contribute as a rookie, but expect his reps to be split with 2014 rookie Aaron Milton out of the University of Toronto. The 6'3", 215-pound back will remind a lot of people of Jerome Messam. Love the mix here at receiver for the Eskimos. It's a healthy balance between both youth as well as experience. This unit is led by future Hall of Famer Fred Stamps, who led the league in receiving yards with 1,259 and yards per catch at 18.5. Stamps is the glue of this unit, but definitely benefits from the talent that's around him, like Darius Bowman and Nate Cahorn, who combined for over 90 receptions and 1,300 yards. Gone is Kerry Koch and Marcus Henry, but with the emergence of Shamar Chambers and the promise of rookie first-round pick Devin Bailey, that lessens the blow. Chambers is poised for a breakout season, while Bailey at 6'5", 202 is ideal on the outside and would expect him to be a big-time weapon in the red zone. His game is similar to former Blue Bombers wide receiver as well as Eskimo receiver Greg Carr and what he brings to the table. Also keep an eye on Akeem Foster, who's another big-body receiver that could contribute very early and often this year for Edmonton. The Eskimos have to get better in protecting the quarterback after giving up 60 sacks last season. The left tackle position was solved, in my opinion, by bringing in Tony Washington from Toronto Argonauts, and Washington is definitely one of the top tackles in the game. Simeon Rodier and Brian Ramsey return on the inside, along with Mammoth Thaddeus Coleman at right tackle. Free agent Andrew Jones will get the nod at right guard starting, and another underrated free agent signing was DeAnthony Baptiste. Baptiste was solid for the Arizona Cardinals, and he's able to play multiple positions up front. With the additions they made, look for this to be a much better unit and get a much better output from this unit in 2014. The Eskimos have to get better up front defensively. Giving up 6 yards a carry on the ground won't cut it this season. They are young on the inside, but guys like Gregory Alexandre, Donna Ramasianwu, and Eddie Steele, they have to play a lot better. Now on the edges, I like what they have up front. All-Pro Odell Willis, who had 9 sacks last year. Marcus Howard, who's coming off another double-digit sack season, his second in 3 years. Keep an eye on rookie Willie Jefferson, a 6'6", 245-pound defensive end out of Stephen F. Austin, who shows enough athleticism to stand up as an outside linebacker if need be. And rookie Michael Datsey was another fine draft pick this year that could make an immediate impact in the rotation. Speed and athleticism can be used to describe the linebacking core for the Eskimos. Gone is TJ Hill and Damaso Munoz, but this is still, in my opinion, the most talented unit on the defense side of the ball. J.C. Sherritt and Rennie Curran are very good blitzers and your classic run and chase linebackers that also excel in coverage. Eric Samuels was solid last year and looks to have an even bigger role this season. Keep an eye on rookie Dexter McCoy out of Tulsa, a 6'4", 225-pound backer who played safety in college very well, gives the Eskimos the best of both worlds. A big body guy that's comfortable tackling in space, but who also can cover. This is another unit that has gone through a transformation. Chris Thompson retired in the offseason, and in comes Pat Watkins, the 6'5" defensive back who has 10 interceptions in his only 2 seasons in the CFL. And at this point in his career, at 31 years old, I think he's ideally suited to play halfback. Rookie Robert Sands is a 6'4" corner that has very good ball skills. I think he's better suited to play inside at halfback, while guys like Joe Burnett, who has great quicks and instincts, would excel on the outside at corner. Manning the other cornerback spot is Marcel Young, a guy who's technically sound and rarely out of position. I would also look for rookie defensive back Mike Dubasson, who was taken in the supplemental draft this year. This is a guy that has a great size at 6'3", 220 pounds, and the range to excel on the back end. Depth at cornerback is a concern. The hope is that the size and length at cornerback and halfback yields better results. The Eskimos are solid at deep safety with Chris Wobakamba and Ryan Hines. They can go with either guy as their starter and be just fine. The Eskimos are going with 2014 draft pick Zachary Medeiros as their kicker/punter this season. Medeiros booted 33 of 49 field goals in college and also averaged 38 yards a punt. Their coverage units are excellent. Mike Miller and Josh Gessie are very good special teamers, while in the return game, Jamal Miles handles both the kickoff and punt return duties, and he does a great job at both. The reason for optimism for the Eskimos, you have to like their receiving core. Riley's second year as a starter, and that linebacking core. So on both sides of the ball, they give you a lot of reason to be optimistic and why they can move forward and make some noise this season. Whenever you have a huge overhaul of your roster, you're always going to have some concern on how quickly these guys can gel and play well together. That's why the first quarter of the season will be very important for the Eskimos. The road to the Grey Cup for the Eskimos goes as follows. Number 1, Mike Riley keeps the turnovers to a minimum. 19 interceptions last season. That can't happen this year. And if he can cut down on the turnovers with the improvements they made on the offensive line and that receiving core, they can go far this season. And the run defense, in my opinion, has to do a lot better. They have to tighten up. 6 yards a carry last year will get you beat week in, week out, and they can't have that happen again in 2014. And the secondary has to create more big plays and giving up the big plays. That's what plagued them last year on the back end, which is why they went out and got bigger guys with ball skills to help them out. And if they can make some plays, again, it gets the ball back to Mike Riley in that offense. I have the Eskimos finishing 4th in the West Division. This is a very good football team with a lot of new faces, and they will get better as the season progresses. And if they can start off the season in a great way, I think that bodes well for them moving forward, and it could ultimately determine how far they move up in the West. But right now, I see them as a team that can finish 4th and challenge for a playoff spot. I also want to give a huge shout out to CFL Fan Forums for always showing football game plan support.